The testimony of the Memphis survivors helped to convince Republicans in Congress that the rights of the formerly enslaved had to be written into the Constitution itself.
This is what inflames white Northerners so much: the widespread violence against the freed people, the massacres in New Orleans and Memphis. So Reconstruction becomes stronger because of what the white South does.
Republicans in Washington were interested in setting the nation on a new footing, and that's what they did through the 14th Amendment.
The 14th Amendment redefined the rights of the freed people, and by extension, the rights of all Americans. Anyone born in the United States would automatically be granted citizenship, and no state could deny to any person due process and equal protection of the laws. Congress passed the 14th Amendment in June of 1866. It turns out that was the easy part. The real challenge lay ahead. Every southern state had an all-white government that had been created by President Johnson. And every one of those state legislatures, except for Tennessee, refused to ratify the amendment. How were Republicans in Washington going to get 3/4 of the states to ratify the 14th Amendment? The answer began to emerge almost a year later. By the spring of 1867, the radical Republicans were firmly in control. Every former state except Tennessee remained out of the Union, having no say in federal elections. The Northern-dominated electorate had given the Republicans huge congressional majorities in the 1866 midterms. The newly empowered majority lost no time in passing sweeping new laws over President Johnson's veto. Reconstruction entered a bold new phase.
In the spring of 1867, Congress turned from kind of the more moderate measures to saying, we actually have to reorganize the South and set these states on a different course. And so the way that they do that is establishing the former Confederacy in 5 military districts. Each one is going to be overseen by a U.S. general. It was something that they called military reconstruction.
They marched through the South telling local officers, we can fire you, we can overrule you. Their goal is visibility, and their goal is to make a statement: you're not in charge, Confederates. We are.
Congress laid out strict new terms. The rebel states had to adopt new constitutions, give black men the right to vote, elect new state governments, and ratify the 14th Amendment. Then, and only then, could they be readmitted to Congress.
How would you get the southern states to adopt the 14th Amendment, to which they are deeply resistant? You say black men must be able to vote, and they also must be able to hold office. This, in the white Southern imagination, is the great travesty of Reconstruction. Some of the former Confederates who had been disenfranchised after the war still cannot vote, whereas black men can. So that is what just really infuriates the white South. They call it bayonet rule.